Are you ready? Thank you all for joining us for today's press briefing as we have a lengthy agenda on today. We will start with the Mississippi Home Corp and RAMP ERA Rental Assistance Program. We will go next into our JTRAN Public Open House, followed by our COVID-19 update and vaccination rates. After the remarks have been made, the mayor will entertain questions. We have joining us Ms. Carla Dazet from our Water and Sewer Business Administration, Ms. Rivers Orman from Mississippi Home Corp, Linda Waters and Robert Leslie from Atmos Energy, and lastly, Amy Davidson from Entergy.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our routine Monday afternoon press briefing. As Ms. McLaughlin has outlined the order of our presser, we will follow that, and at the conclusion of those topics in which she outlined, we're also going to provide a COVID-19 update that is critical that our residents hear. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment just to congratulate the 17 JPD officers that were recently pinned as sergeants following not only the sergeant's exam and the entire process that followed. We want them to know that we're very proud of their progress. As I stated at their pinning ceremony, while we're disappointed when we have officers that leave us, we always want to see their progress and success. And I say that because as we look across the state at officers who are becoming police chiefs across the state of Mississippi, so many of them got their roots within JPD. And so that is a testament to the overall JPD organization. And so we're proud to see some more officers rise up the ranks. And so if you don't mind just giving them a round of applause for their hard work. Switching the page a little here, I'd like to thank all of our representatives that are here before us as we outline the assistance that is provided and available to the residents of Jackson, residents across the state of Mississippi, as we've not only been battling the health effects of the pandemic, the emotional effects of the pandemic, but the economic struggle and trauma that neighborhoods, communities have been suffering in the midst of this pandemic, which has lasted more than the better part of the last 12 months plus. And so as we move forward and as we try to provide a helping hand, a lending hand to those individuals, I want to thank the organizations that have been tasked with providing these resources that have been sent down from the federal government, passed through the state. And they have a gargantuan task, not only in providing the necessary relief, but making sure that it gets to the individuals that need it most, that we're scratching where people are itching. And so I want to commend them and thank them for that. Today we have Rivers Orman with Mississippi Home Corp, followed by Linda Waters and Robert Leslie with Entergy. And I'd like to bring them forward. We have a... Oh, we have Linda. Okay, Linda's just fine. All right. But I'd like to offer Ms. Orman the podium for a moment, just to speak about Mississippi Home Corp's role in the fair that we have coming up here very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We are, as Mississippi Home Corporation, extremely thankful and grateful to the City of Jackson for reaching out to Mississippi Home Corp to host this outreach event. So the outreach event is going to take place Friday, July 23rd, as well as Saturday, July 24th. Friday, it will be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., and Saturday, it will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This event is going to serve as an opportunity for those who may not have access to internet or need help filling out an application for our rental assistance program to come and have that one-on-one interaction, and internet and paper applications will be available as well to fill those out. If you need to learn more about our program and eligibility and all sorts of those things, you can find them at www.ms-ramp.com, and you can find all of the eligibility requirements and required documents that will be needed to complete the application there at the location at the Trade Mart on those 2 days. A brief transcript of what will be required: you will need a valid ID, a lease agreement, your landlord's contact information, proof you're at risk of homelessness or housing instability, income documentation for the year of 2020, and if income documentation is not available or you don't have an income, we will have forms that you can complete on location as well. Additional documents will be unemployment benefit documentation and a determination letter for other things such as Medicaid or Head Start, et cetera. So, Mayor, thank you so much for hosting this event for us at the Trade Mart Center. We are very grateful to be participating, as well as Entergy and Atmos. Thank you all for participating as well.
Once again, we'd like to thank Mississippi Home Corp for your role and support in providing the necessary assistance to residents across the state of Mississippi. I think it is important that our residents understand that we need you to meet us. We need you to come and join us at the fair, to sign up. We can't draft you into these programs. And so this is, much needed aid to be provided to individuals. A basketball coach once told me that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, all right? And so we need you to come to the fairgrounds, see if you are eligible, and receive some of the funds that are available and need to be spent in order to assist. Not only are there resources for the benefit of rental assistance, there are resources that are intended to help people who are behind on their utility payments. Not only is the City of Jackson looking at our customers within our water sewer division, we're also happy to be joined by Entergy and Atmos to speak about this program and their participation. So I want to invite you to the podium to share a few words. You can both come.
Make sure. Keep them asked.
First, thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity. Atmos Energy, we're excited and proud to support the City of Jackson and the public utility staff, the Mississippi Home Corp and Entergy in the efforts to provide awareness of utility assistance that's available to the constituents of the City of Jackson and across the state. We are pleased to be a part of this great endeavor. We look forward to seeing the results and the outcome of the assistance that's available to the citizens of this community. So we thank you and we appreciate the opportunity to partner with this endeavor.
Yeah, and I would say that we have done smaller scale events, just focusing on gas bills in the past, and they are always very successful and very much appreciated by our customers. And so this is going to be a very unique opportunity. And when we are, like I say, we're excited to work with the city and with the other utilities on this.
We are, and for one last comment, if I may, we'd like to invite the constituents to also visit our website for additional information on assistance that's available at www.atmosenergy.com. Take a moment to visit our website. You will find a wealth of information on assistance that's available to you as well. So, Mayor, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me take a moment. First and foremost, forgive me that my notes may not incorporate your name and your representation. Can you? Okay. Okay. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Davidson to the podium to speak about Entergy's participation as well. Thank you.
I think I just want to add to what my colleagues at Atmos said. We're happy to be here. Thanks to the city for reaching out to Mississippi Home Corporation, which we've been working with already for our customer assistance. This is a great program for those that rent in our city that were impacted by COVID, and we're going to be there to do whatever we can to help all of our customers. So we'll have volunteers there, and we'll look forward to folks coming out and getting some help as they're struggling through this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you coming forward to share some remarks. Sometimes I think it is beneficial that the residents hear from more than just me as we talk about this assistance. I do want to invite Ms. Carla Dazet to speak from the perspective of our water business administration with the city. As we're talking about the opportunity that this provides for not only rental assistance, we're talking about utilities. This is part and parcel of our overall objective of building a dignity economy. We talk about, constructing an economy which moves away from the cycles of humiliation that our communities suffer from, and moving forward in a way in which we can all hold on to the inherent dignity that we should all possess. And so there's nothing that provides more dignity than being able to meet your bills, being able to pay your rent, pay your utilities, and provide the protection and the necessary components of life for your family. And so I'm grateful for your participation in this program. I'm grateful for your willingness to partner with the City of Jackson and our residents. And we look forward to a large turnout at this fair. Carla, if you would just share a few brief words with respect to the City of Jackson's Water Business Administration participation.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just wanted to just mention that when this money dropped down from the federal government, we looked at the amount and the short time frame that Mississippi Home Corps had to distribute this to the customers. And I went to the mayor and I said, do you want to do something big and help out? Because we know that this is a generational opportunity to kind of give people a fresh start. And the assistance that Home Corps can provide is up to 15 months of assistance. And that can be a game changer for a family. So we just decided to jump in and reach out to Home Corps and see what we could do. And it's grown and turned into a large partnership with all of our other utilities. And we're just so grateful for it. So.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Once again, exciting opportunity, and we want our residents to take advantage. For the individuals who are struggling, who come to City Hall, go to our water department, complaining over their bills, this is an opportunity to help you. And so I ask that you come out, I ask that you tell your neighbors, I ask that you tell your friends, and this is an opportunity, as you have said, for a fresh start, an opportunity that can really be a game changer for so many people. And so once again, we have to make certain that we are meeting people where they are, that we are scratching where people are itching. It's one thing to have the resources, which is difficult to accomplish in and of itself. It's another thing to make sure that the resources fall into the hands of the people who need it most. And so this is important. This press conference is important. Your information and understanding of what this provides to you is certainly critical, not only to individuals, to households, but to our city at large. And so we would like for people to come and participate. Next on our docket, we have JTRAN as we celebrate JTRAN's open house, which will be tomorrow, July 20th, at Union Station. And I'd like to invite not only Jordan, but Christine forward to speak about JTRAN's open house and what this is about. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jordan Hillman, and I'm the Director of Planning here at the City of Jackson, and this is Christine Welch, our Deputy Director of Transportation. Together, along with our partners, the riders, and our community, over the past few months, we've been working on a project called Connect Jackson Transit Plan. Many of you may have participated in the survey work earlier in the spring or in some of the advisory committee meetings or through other forms of participation. We are at the point where we are ready to present some options based on that feedback. So we have heard from riders and stakeholders about how they use the system and what they want to see improved. Riders also weighed in on where they would like to see better service. Many of these requests were answered by our new proposed bus network. Key features of the proposed plan include faster and more direct trips with more convenient access. The new bus network being considered offers a new and improved JTRAN experience. Here are a few ways you would benefit as a JTRAN rider if we went forward with this system. You would have faster and more direct trips. There are now 10 simplified routes. There are straighter routes with fewer loops, meaning you get to your destination faster. We have new direct connections between downtown and North Park Mall every 30 minutes without a transfer. We have new direct connections between Union Station, the Jackson Medical Mall, UMMC, and the VA hospital. We will have more convenient access to grocery, shopping, and medical appointments. At least one grocery store is now located on every route. No transfers needed to get to groceries anymore. 3 new routes will connect South Jackson neighborhoods with the Highway 18 Walmart. 2 buses per hour will now serve the Jackson Medical Mall. We will also have reliable schedules that you can depend on, even on Saturdays. All routes start and end at the same time each day. No more reduced service in the middle of the day. No more reduced Saturday service. If your route runs on a weekday, it will run on a Saturday. The route schedule is actually the same all day, every day. And the easiest way to illustrate how significant that is to our ridership is right now, this is our schedule on a regular week. As you can see, different buses go different places at different hours. It doesn't matter how well you know the system, it's very difficult to navigate. The new schedule is standard across the board. All buses move at the same schedule. So once you learn how to move around on the JTRAN system, it's a lot more understandable. And that was one of the things the riders specifically did ask for. The other things we want to speak about are increased access to key activity centers. On weekdays at 7 a.m., the new bus network would increase the number of people who can access jobs, shopping, and services by 31% on average. The new bus network improves access even further in the middle of the day. At noon on a weekday, access to key activity centers within an hour is improved by 49%. And Saturdays see the greatest increase, with nearly 30,000 people or more able to travel to places like North Park, UMMC, Midtown, downtown within an hour. On average, Saturday access is improved by 56% over the existing network. The city is also considering other future improvements, such as on-demand service and improved frequency on certain routes. These are the things that we are wanting to get some input on. So to participate in evaluating the new route schedule and letting us know whether or not if it matches what we heard and it serves you well, there are 2 ways to participate. One will be tomorrow night, as mentioned by the mayor, we are having an open house at Union Station, Tuesday, July 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. That's at 300 West Capitol Street, enter on West Capitol. Mask will be required. And that's a come and go event. We will have our planning team on hand to answer questions, to give very one-on-one access to understanding the system and how it will have impact on our riders. The other way to participate, and this is particularly important given that COVID has started to make a comeback in our community, you can participate online by visiting jtrantransitplan.com. That's JTRAN, transitplan.com. On that site, you can now actually see a full story map of everything that has happened to date. It's a really, really good documentation of the process. I would encourage the media, anybody interested in any more information about this, to look at that story map. It walks through everything our riders told us, to how our existing route service works, to how ridership is in some areas and isn't in some areas, to how our paratransit system works, and how the new routes actually work going forward. And then it directs you to a survey to help us understand how this will impact you as a rider or as a community member, and also help us understand how to evaluate future decisions we make about whether or not we work through more on-demand service or work through improving the existing frequency of a fixed route network. So with that being said, I do want to turn it over to Christine Welch, our Deputy Director of Transportation, because this project has been her baby to date, and I want to give her a chance to talk about what it really means to the operations of JTRAN.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Mayor. To the citizens of Jackson, Mississippi, for quite some time, we've heard you all, but we were unable to do anything about it. This is an opportunity for you all to speak to us. Look at what we've done. South Jackson in particular, I know for some time, I recently got an email as late as yesterday concerning about South Jackson. Come out, give us your opinion, give us your honest opinion. How will it impact your life? We're here to serve you, so if you can just come out, go online. We want your opinions, and they do matter to us. Thank you.
I will wrap up by saying that this is our proposed route scenario, so these routes would not go into effect until after this plan is adopted, and that a implementation plan is put together. So there will be a significant amount of communication still going forward before we adopt these routes and before we move into implementation.
I'd like to thank Jordan and Christine for their hard work and the other individuals within the planning department who have played a role in this route study. As you have been well aware through recent press conferences, as we have tried to unveil a new JTRAN from a logo change to new buses. We had buses for the longest period of time that were at end of life, the end of their life cycle, and we are ready to present nearly an entirely new fleet as we have more buses on the way. And a part and parcel of that plan to reveal a new JTRAN is also making certain, as I said earlier, making sure that we are scratching where people are itching and having a route plan or a route study that is consistent with the needs of our residents today. As we talk about dignity, as we talk about a change in how we view our economy and how we view the supports we provide to people, one of the greatest statistical corollaries between generational poverty is actually mobility, people's ability to get to and from the things that they need to do, to and from opportunities. And so for those that have never ridden JTRAN, you may not understand the value and the purpose, but it serves a very critical part of our populace and helps provide assistance to them. Not only do I want to thank Christine and Jordan and the planning department for your hard work and the residents, I want to thank those riders for JTRAN, those individuals who not only have given their opinions, who have invited me on a couple of trips, and I've had the opportunity to ride the buses over the last few years to understand what their experience is. And so we believe in collective genius. We believe that we're a lot smarter together than we are as individuals. And so what we don't want to do is design and defend. We want our residents to be a part of adopting a route study, adopting a plan that is consistent with our vision collectively for moving forward. And so I'm excited about the open house. I'm excited about this new route study. I'm excited about the input we are sure to receive from our residents. Turning the page to another critically important subject that we may have a little fatigue on, that is COVID-19. It is important that we recognize that our risk is higher than it's ever been before as we see the resurgence of the virus. To take a quote from Dr. Fauci, we are seeing a pandemic amongst the unvaccinated. And so as people have become weary of wearing masks, become weary of all of the protocol that we have established in order to protect people, they have been desiring the expiration of our mask mandate. It is important that they understand that that is all dictated by our ability to become vaccinated, by our ability to not only protect ourselves and our family members, but our community at large. Presently, the city of Jackson the state of Mississippi has a I just have the numbers for the Hinds County. Hinds County has a 42.2% vaccination rate. That is an improvement over where we have been for the last few months, but only marginally so. And there's only a 37.7% fully vaccinated rate. The first number was individuals who have received at least one shot. We are woefully behind the national average, and what we are witnessing is the thing that we feared. When we had the visit of First Lady Jill Biden, we were talking about unvaccinated communities We were talking about the threat that lies within those communities. And so we need to do better. We need to meet people where we are. I will be broaching this subject with our COVID-19 task force to see what we can do additionally. We have been grateful for the support of both local professionals, state professionals, the task force themselves, as we had our vaccination day that the city sponsored. And so we'll look at what other additional efforts we can unveil. I will be talking with federal partners to see how we get support for the Shots in Shops program that they have launched, where they are providing vaccination shots within barbershops and beauty salons. We want to do everything that we can to make it convenient for individuals. For those that may be critical of some individuals who have not received a shot, I want you to understand just how large of an undertaking this is, where we have so many people that lack sufficient health care, lack sufficient health care providers. What we are asking them to do is deviate from every norm that they have established. If you've never gone to the doctor, we understand that we are now asking you to do something that is unfamiliar and quite foreign to you. But we're asking you to do it not only for your protection, but the protection of your mother, your father, your grandparents, even your children, as we have seen an increased impact of the Delta variant as we see the resurgence of the COVID-19 pandemic. The overall message is that we need residents to become vaccinated. And so if you have the opportunity, if you've been debating and battling this question of whether you will get vaccinated or not, please do not wait until it's too late. Once again, to quote Dr. Fauci, right now we have a pandemic amongst the unvaccinated. And so I just wanted to reiterate that message. At this time, if you have any questions, I would like to entertain those. I would prefer that we first entertain questions related to any of the topics that we have talked about thus far, and anything else that you want to speak to, we're prepared to answer. I'm going to go right to left this time. Yes.
Yes, Mayor. With the moratoriums ending soon at the end of the month, and having this program that will help people find a place to keep affordable housing, what are your expectations for this event, and what would you tell residents that are facing these struggles?
And I'm going to do my best to repeat the question. That is one of the things I fail at almost every press conference, because I know that not every microphone picks that up. The question was, with the moratoriums ending very soon, what are my expectations for the fair that we're going to be having coming up? Well, my prayer is that it is wildly successful. My prayer is that the people who need this assistance most receive word and make arrangements to be there. Often when the information is not disseminated as it should be, and the opportunities are no longer present, people come forward and tell us of their needs. And so this is not a moment that we can duck our heads in the sand. This is not a moment that we can wait until another day. You have an opportunity. An opportunity, as I think Ms. Dazet appropriately spoke to, that is a generational opportunity that does not happen very frequently. You have the resources there. You have money available, and in some cases, you have up to 15 months worth of support for residents to provide the necessary resources for rental assistance and utility assistance. As you have seen, and I'm thankful once again for the representatives that have joined us, representatives from Atmos, representatives from Entergy, representatives from our own water department, and not to leave out Mississippi Home Corp, all here just to speak about what an opportunity we have in front of us. And so we want it to be wildly successful. I would call on our media in this process to continue to put out the message, continue to let our residents know just how wonderful of an opportunity they have in front of them. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Holmes County in particular has seen a dramatic rise in cases recently, in COVID cases. In a 2-week period, 700 cases. Most
Well, first of all, the question was speaking to the increased numbers in Hinds County and the very high-risk nature that we find ourselves in. When do I start to consider other restrictions being re-implemented? As you know, CJ, that is always on the table. That is a conversation that we put in front of the task force to make sure that our decisions are based on science and not politics, and they direct our course of action. I think that the reason that we see our numbers increased so significantly within Hinds County is because not only are we the most populous county, but we are, in many regards, the capital of healthcare within the, central Mississippi area. And so, as people are, contracting cases and going to seek the necessary medical treatment, we have to understand the burden that places on all other healthcare concerns. When our hospitalization rate is increased, and that is really the defining statistic that really, sways the pendulum of whether we implement more mandates or not. Because when we have an inability to meet the healthcare needs of those that are sick, that's when the death toll goes up. And so I know that, businesses, restaurants in particular, have been asking, Mayor, when are you going to take this mask mandate down? I first assure them that I seek no pleasure out of having this mandate, that it is purely an exercise of prevention, an exercise of trying to do the very best that we can to protect our residents. And I will be unapologetic of that because I care about the threats that are there for our residents. And so we will evaluate that amongst our COVID task force, and if there are any updates to announce very soon, I will provide that. I have been hopeful, and I have mentioned this on a couple of occasions, I have been hopeful of soon relinquishing the mask mandate. But as we see numbers continue to rise, and as we only see marginal improvement within our vaccination rate, we have to ask our residents to dig in deeper because at the start of this, there was no solution in hand, right? At the start of this, there was no vaccine. Now we have it. It is free. It is available to people. We need you to sign up and take it. For those that are fearful, based on the short timeline in which this was established, I want to let them know that while there is different components to this vaccine, it is based on the same science that we have been using for generations. Everyone, when they started school, got vaccinated for diseases that we no longer see, have a prevalent resurgence within our community. That is because we are becoming vaccinated against them. And it becomes a part of our culture, it becomes a part of our norm, that as our children are starting school, we know that we have to take them to the doctor and get their shots if they want to be able to enroll. By that same token, by that same logic, that is what we're asking you to do today. Anything else? Yes.
Yeah, this is about JTRAN. I'm not sure if you want to take this question. It doesn't matter to me, but are we going to increase or decrease the hours of operation?
You want to add that? It has definitely been a part of the discussion, but I want them to speak to it.
The transit study has revealed that there is a request for extended hours. This initial rollout is going to extend the hours for consistency, as opposed to now we have various time spans where there are service in certain areas and then it leaves for 4 or 5 hours and then it returns. Now we're going to go all day, 6 days a week, the same service, same hours. We'll be pulling out basically about the same time we are right now. We pull out every morning now at 5, and the last bus comes in at 7:45.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I wanted to ask you about the statement you released after the governor announced his public safety initiative last week. And you had mentioned that the problem was solved, or the crime did not be solved, the police and the law. You mentioned the state had failed to provide adequate funding in that regard. And you listed some examples
Well, it's not so much a measure, and the city is always asking for support. It's not so much a measure of the city independently asking for those supports. It is the responsibility of the state to provide more health care support. There is a correlation, as we have seen a decrease in mental health funding. We see an increase in the nefarious activities that we don't want to see, and a number of other things. And I'm not, just as I have generational problems, from potholes to, any number of things, I'm not trying to put that at the foot of one person, right? But I am trying to illustrate the importance of a comprehensive plan that benefits us all. As I said, I welcome collaboration with the state as we talk about the increased patrols. That was envisioned by the CCID. The money has been there in order to support the increased patrol in that area. And as we look at those traditional means of helping to deter or to reduce crime, we also have to look at the trauma that exists. We have to decrease the amount of desperation that we see in our communities. And as I have mentioned before, I don't say this, in order to say that we should have a reprieve or it's not as important of an issue here in Jackson, but as we see a resurgence in gun violence nationwide, as we see a resurgence of crime nationwide, I think it is important that we extrapolate the least common denominators in that and understand what are the social determinants that are leading to that taking place. And so if we're able to decrease the amount of desperation within our communities, I believe that we will see a better impact and effect of our policing efforts as well.
The Lieutenant Governor had said last week that they actually increased mental health funding recently, I think it was last year, by $4 or $5 million. Obviously, that's a statewide number that's not specifically to Jackson, but to your point that mental health funding has been decreased. He actually had taken issue with that specifically. What's your response to that? And also,
Well, I would say kudos to a trajectory that's going up. I would say that we're not meeting the mark, and after several years of it being decreased, we're not just trying to return to the same numbers that are clearly not sufficient to meet the need. And so, once again, as I said, I don't put that at one person's foot or one, place that at one person's feet. But I do believe that we have to recognize that as a priority and move forward.
you're about a month into, or a little less than a month into your second term in office.
Has it been that much? It seems.
But I want to ask you about, and again, from your perspective, when it comes to asking for help, asking for assistance from the state, has the city reached out since you've been in office, or from your memory, specifically for things related to crime solutions?
Absolutely. That has happened across multiple administrations at this point within the state office or the gubernatorial office. And so the city has come before the state with legislative asks, with supports. I mean, we determined to, roll out our own financial support of our real-time crime center. That had been suggested as an area of potential support for the city. And so the city, we want to operate with a coalition of the willing, right? I'm not opposed to support. I was very clear of my objection to the concept of bringing the National Guard in. First of all, they're not an agency which is trained in order to de-escalate. They're not an agency that is trained to do patrols that police do. They're trained often to go to war, right? And we don't want to treat our residents as enemy combatants, right? And so not only is that not a good look in terms of that not being the area of training in which they have, but it doesn't represent good optics within the city for economic development. It doesn't represent the love and support that we want to see across our city for our residents. And so I have stated objection to that. I've never stated objection to state support, or for that matter, federal support that addresses the needs that we have in our city. Yes.
We've now passed 6 months since the winter storm back in February. What do you have an update on the city's water infrastructure, and what are the challenges that the city faces?
So let me say this. I will pause at going too far beyond my expertise. Dr. Williams is the person who is best equipped to answer, in a more specific fashion, your question. But what I will say is this. I continue to reiterate that while we have residents that have water now, while by and large we don't have our communities on a boil water notice, we are still in crisis because the systems we have are the systems we have until we replace them. We know that they're at end of life. We know that they are vulnerable to changes in our weather conditions. And so it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when they will fail again until we can make sufficient upgrades to those systems. We're hopeful, as there has been, really robust conversation on an infrastructure plan with the federal government. We're hopeful that will see its completion and we'll be able to tackle these issues. Just as we're talking about rental assistance, just as we're talking about utility assistance in the vein of it being a generational opportunity, I believe that we have to see to it that our ability to address the infrastructure challenges as a generational opportunity to provide not only sustainable, dependable, but equitable infrastructure to all of our residents. All right.
Mentioning other infrastructure things to look at. We earlier talking about potholes in answer to CJ. What are some other infrastructure things that you feel the city needs to address going forward?
So, and I'm always careful with this because, my calculation of this has been misinterpreted. I have estimated that comprehensively, the city of Jackson has better than a $2 billion infrastructure challenge in and of itself. How do I come to that number? Well, when we look at our wastewater challenges and our EPA consent decree, the EPA has estimated our challenges with our wastewater at about $1 billion. That's before you get to drinking water. That's before you get to storm water. Not only did we have our Pearl River crest and it flood our communities, we have communities like Hemingway Circle that has flooding anytime we have flash flooding that comes to the back of people's doorsteps. We have communities like Presidential Hills that have flooding on, I think it's Lyndon B. Johnson or John F. Kennedy. I don't remember the street. I've been there. And I've been in water that is, nearly waist high. We have challenges, and that's before I get to roads and bridges. And so I think that my estimate at best is conservative, and so we have a lot of challenges to meet. Our expectation is not that we, are able to deal with all of this and we have a nice, new, bright, shiny, pretty city with everything repaired, but we do have to do a better job of meeting these sustainable needs of our residents. I've talked a lot about a dignity economy. I feel that my problem with economists is that they don't study people. And so when we talk about what the best opportunities for residents, it's more than just a matter of evaluating GDP and whether we have new edifices going up. It's a matter of whether we're meeting the sustainable development goals of our residents, and infrastructure is one of those sustainable development goals. I thank y'all for y'all's time. I will cover other topics at a later moment. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes.
How do you think the Capital City TRAN initiative is going so far, and what do you think about the state stepping in?
Once again, as I said in my remarks just a moment ago, we accept any collaboration that is willing to move the city forward. This was anticipated in the CCID. This is money from the taxpayers of the city of Jackson that was diverted to not only see infrastructure repairs within the CCID, but the legislation also adopted the ability for it to help with increased public safety initiatives. And so we're happy to see that our money is going towards those initiatives. It is too early to say how we don't have any real data to really say heads or tails how it is really impacting the overall objective of decreasing violent crime within our community. But we're prayerful that not only that, but additional efforts that we may implement will support our objectives in that regard. Thank y'all. I appreciate you.
Thank you all for joining us today. As we reiterated a lot, there will be flyers and information posted to our city's website. As a reminder, the event this weekend is for renters. And for those homeowners who would like to participate in the city's program, please contact the Water Sewer Business Administration at 601-960-2000. And there's also an email that will be utilized as WSBA Assistance Program at jacksonmiss.gov. So again, please check the city's website for all of this information so that you may take part. Have a great afternoon.